Hey guys, Mixed Media Girl here. So today I'm creating an awesome 2-for-1 project with a tumbler and tray with alcohol inks and resin. To start off with, I'm mixing my resin here. I'm using Mixed Media Girl Artist Resin, and I did preheat it a little bit by putting it in front of a heater so that it could go a little more easily into a mold. This resin is meant to be poured no more than about 1/8 of an inch deep, but if you preheat it, you can definitely pour it deeper than that. I like to start with part B. It is the thinner of the two and therefore makes mixing easier. And we're going to mix equal parts with the resin and the hardener. And these are some handy dandy measuring cups that I get from Amazon. They are reusable until pretty much the end of time. So you're going to stir for about 3 to 4 minutes. You don't have to stir super vigorously, but scrape the sides, scrape the bottoms, and you just really want to make sure that it is well stirred. You have a long working time with this, so it's more important to make sure it's fully stirred in. Now I'm using Pixess and Pinata alcohol inks. You want to make sure that you shake them very well before you get started, and I like to open all the caps so they're just ready to go. If you've got resin on your hands, you don't want to be trying to open bottles. So I started off with the tumbler on my cup turner and put a clear coat over it. Now this tumbler, I did kind of prep a little bit by lightly sanding it and then spray painting it with a matte white paint and primer. And that just kind of gets it ready to go so the resin will stick nice and easy to it. After your clear coat, torch to get rid of the air bubbles, and then just get started with your alcohol inks. You do not want to torch too much once you've put the alcohol inks on there because they are alcohol. You could light it on fire, but if you let it dissipate for a little bit, then you can torch again. So on this project, I kind of went a little bit back and forth between putting the inks on and then putting some of the resin on there. But putting the resin on after you put the inks on creates a really interesting effect, and it kind of removes the ink a little bit, but in a really cool way. A little hard to describe, so hopefully you can kind of see it through the video. I put white in here to kind of lighten this up, and then I let it spin and dissipate for several minutes, then go in with the torch. If it does light on fire, don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. It will dissipate very quickly, but practice safety. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher around. You also can use a heat gun to get rid of the air bubbles or 91% isopropyl alcohol. Now, just as a note, if you do use the alcohol spray, it will affect your pattern. So once I was done with the tumbler, I moved that off to the side and went to work on the tray. I wanted to keep the design that was already in there, so I kind of worked around it the best that I could. I poured a little bit more clear resin into the mold, once again around that design. And I wasn't sure how I was going to really keep that design and not create something that looked just weird around it, but I thought I would give it a go. So I used the same colors and in pretty much the same order, I believe. In the tray here, you're really just dripping them in. There's not too much more to it. And just don't overdo it on the ink because you can have trouble with your curing if you do, but that takes a lot of ink. So also don't worry about it. And I like to make sure that I definitely get some ink to the very, very edges of the tray. It's going to kind of naturally contract a little bit and the inks will move towards the inside. So try to get it on the very outside there. Now I thought a good way to blend this in with that middle part was to use a stick and kind of create some lines, because that was the really cool thing about that middle part is there were these really cool lines in it. So I took a stick and I went around it and voila, I think that was awesome and a really good idea. I'm very happy I thought to do that. I put the handles into the tray wet and then just let it dry. You can also let the tray dry and then you can screw the handles in from the bottom, but I like to just put them right into the resin. As a note, I don't have that as part of the video, but I did put a clear coat on top of this. So once that first layer was dry, I went in there with a clear coat, and this is me demolding it after that. So the bottom looks amazing, the top looks amazing, and this could be used as an upside down raised tray or just the regular direction like this. Totally up to you. And here is the tumbler all done. As a note, I did not put a clear coat on this, but I will definitely put a clear coat on it before selling it or giving away or using it. There is a little spot at the top that I missed with ink. So if you wanted to, you could go over this with another coat of ink even, or do ink in certain spots. Totally up to you. And here is the whole project complete. I think it looks best on the white background because you can really see the colors. They really pop. I thought these kind of like, makes me think of like Santa Fe, New Mexico colors, but just really fun and easy 2-for-1 project. Use any colors you want. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching.